Hello. Yeah, what's up? Okay. Hello, everybody. I have returned. I'm on my roommate's desktop. Thank you very much to my roommate for allowing me the use of the desktop. Um, so today's video, I'm going to be going over the Yokohama Open. The Yokohama Open, it's been about a couple weeks now. Um, I figured enough time has passed. We can start to talk about it. This tournament was the so far the largest online RSTPK tournament. 68 players total competed in it, and it's uh, it's really nice. It's really nice to see a turnout like this. Well, let me turn this audio down. It's really nice to see a turnout like this. Honestly, uh, it was won by High Flyer, as we can see here on Bombtar. And there were a lot of really cool things that were going on in the tournament. I'm gonna talk about my results, my run, since I did do pretty well. But I did want to focus more on like some of the like strange things in this event. Um, a lot of the lists were not super like in top eight, like me and Christmas, for example, had the same list. I feel like Ayage and Audiosaura's bomb tars were not super wild. Excuse me. And yeah, let's just get into it. Yeah. So, anyways, but what I'm trying to say is like, the lists can be cool as you search deeper in the tournament. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but in the past, I have not been very great, or I'll just spend a bunch of time talking about the wrong shit. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so let us begin with my run, just because I want to kind of get that out of the way. Um, so run was pretty weird. Run was pretty strange. I started out pretty bad. I went 2-2 to start, and I was like, God, man, I am going to have to go undefeated in order to like maybe get in. And then that happened. And then I like bricked in top eight. And then I was like, man, I'm gonna have to go undefeated to get to finals. And then that happened too. But unfortunately, my luck ran out. Anyways, my round one was against Kirta on Railer. Um, I don't remember this match very well. Uh, it, it kind of, I mean, I feel like every time you play guard into Railer, it's pretty scary. Um, but the main thing that I remember was like he had good pushaways. Like I feel like he pushed away my windstorm pretty regularly, but I just had a lot of energy on the board and he didn't really deal with that. So I don't remember the details of this one. I get this one and the Maxi Boy mixed up because they are both railers. Um, but yeah, um, one round one. Round two, I had Mysterious Player. I have not beat Mysterious Player in a tournament. It's like a matter of getting horrible matchups against him most of the time. This time the matchup's fine. I mean, it's a guard mirror, and his list does have Septile EX, so interesting takeaway there. We'll get into that more later though. But he just sacked me. There was nothing I could do. I drew dead, and he drew really nice, so nothing I can do. Played against Aster Games on Scizor. Guess I should be going to these lists as I'm going through them. Kikirda, I don't remember if he had anything wild in his. Yeah, this is Jason's list. If it's not, it's very close to it. I think Unknown is not very good in Railer. Um, doesn't really solve any problems of the deck. Um, and if you're on Unknown, you should just be on. Whoa, two fan club on one. That's interesting. TV Reporter is a good pick though. I like TV Reporter in this. Anyways, uh, Mysterious Player. No, Aster Games. Um, yeah, this matchup is pretty fake, pretty bad for Urshijar. I think he got pretty unlucky on coin flips too, and you basically need to get good coin flips against Gardevoir. Well, with Scizor in general, you kind of need to get good coin flips, otherwise you won't be able to keep up. But against Gardevoir especially, the way that you're supposed to play this matchup with Guard is that you don't really rush anything. You just try to get a Guard EX up. If you get Guard EX up and don't let it take too much Curse Stone damage or like get reversaled, then it's going to be taking out two Scizors, which is just kind of devastating. They should not be able to win if you do this. So, um, and I played James Arnold. I was so glad to be playing against another matchup. So I like Rayler is a pretty rough matchup. The mirror is never fun. Scizor was pretty free, but then I was like, okay, need a queen, perfect. Like, this is a pretty free matchup for Gardevoir most of the time. The problem is that my opponent opened insane, and he made a really smart move in the early game, toxicking my Jirachi instead of just trying to use his own Wishing Star to kind of set up further because he already had Pidgeot and Nidoqueen. I also prized awfully, like I prized like two Warp Energy and like two Cast Form or something. It was miserable, miserable prizing. I still played pretty well. I mean, I played really well, I think, but I had absolutely atrocious luck. It took me forever to get set up. Everything was prized. I got into some crazy end game where if I like drew a cast form off of my prizes when I KO'd something, I had a chance to get back in the game, but alas, that did not materialize. And yeah, so I lost, and I was so bummed here. I was like, and then especially going into round five where I have to play against Canton, I was just like, man, this is rough. But I mean, like I've gone 4-0 before, so I was like, I can do it again, just one game at a time. James List. Let's see. I think he said he did not like the Space Centers in retrospect, and yeah, I have no idea. These should be desert ruins, especially if you're not on Sceptile, which you should be on Sceptile. Um, I also think probably Warp Energy is better here, and I think that this deck is better with the Holland Engine. I actually think there's like not very much about this list that I would use now. James Arnold is definitely a strong player. Don't get me wrong, and he's seen success with this list. But I do think that this is a deck that has been modernized and oh, easy. So this it's a deck that's been modernized and will continue to be modernized. And I think this like '06 special is probably not the way you want to go. I think Septalia X is really good, and also Delta Nita Queen is really good. Um, and maybe the Holland Engine is better. Um, anyways, so then I played Canton. I knew Canton was on something that had. I know I actually spectated his game against Jasmine because that one ended in a tie, which was uh, whole TCG one X Pendix moment. Um, but I saw most of the cards in his deck, which helped a lot. I also saw this fucking Hitmontop, dude. Look at this. Like, this guy. Once I saw it, I immediately was like, oh, okay, I completely get the sauce here. I mean, upward kick kills Tyranitar if it has 2 damage counters on it, which is funny. Um, and you also like 1v1 Stantler pretty well. Although you'd have to get the energy. Although you do play Forecastaway, so possible. Um, oh, and you play the basic fighting because you play Castaway. Okay, I got you now. But I saw like most of the cards in this deck. I don't know if I saw Hitmontop, but I saw like Radicate, I saw Camerupt, I saw Stantler, I saw Espeon Star, um, saw ATM Rock, but I didn't really know like what his counts were. Like I didn't know if it was like a 3-2 rat, or if it was a 2-2 rat, or just a slim 1-1, or what other like Ratlock sauce he had. Like I didn't know if he had Murkrow or like Rocket's Wob or the other Wob. Um, so I kind of just played it normally. Um, the main thing that happened here was that I was able to get Mew Star to be in play, which dissuaded him from ever putting Eradicate in play because then I get to copy pickup. But I got to copy so many other moves, and eventually it came down to like he benched an Espeon with Curse Stone up, which he needed to do to confuse my active, and then I think I had something for that. I think I had Warp Point or something. And then that ended up costing him because he had to take damage on Espeon, and I was able to set up for some split bomb KOs that didn't put me in power range. So, um, yeah, mostly just Mew being the crazy MVP that it is against these Stantler decks. Um, so it was nice because I got to beat Kanten. I was like, well, if I don't get to top cut, at least I have another Kanten win, I suppose. Also, the list is really cool. Rogar, I kind of been talking about like an evil Stantler with Eradicate line, and it's interesting to see this putting in work. There's also like an '06 or sorry, an '05 deck actually that runs a similar idea, but this one, um, excuse me, I'll be interesting to see. I would be interested to see Kenton talk about this list because I think it's really interesting. I always love seeing what he brings to tournaments. He's very innovative. Um, Almost got cut. Almost. If this tie thing didn't happen, who knows what could have unfurled. Then I played against Maxi Boy on Railer. I think his Railer. This kind of looks closer to like one of the Tord lists from last year. The Quad Superscape up, slimming down the stadiums, Quad Marys, yeah, Quad Ray EX. Um, yeah, so what was I saying? I don't remember this game super well. I get my two Railer games mixed up from this tournament, but it was another case of I'm pretty sure Mew Star put in a bunch of work, and I was really scared to push away, but I made things happen that needed to happen. Um, and Maxi Boy also, I'm pretty sure, a fan of the channel. So if you're watching, it's a good game. I'm sorry I don't remember the details of this game too much. Um, it's honestly nice. It's been a couple of weeks, so I don't rattle on about my games for forever. Then I played against Cole, aka Rogar, on Baynet. Um, I knew more or less what he was playing in this list. I knew he was on reversals. I knew he was on the Mew package. I knew he was on some count of Solrock and Lunatone, but he's definitely slimming it down. Closer, I think this is like within a couple cards of the Canton list. Um, and you did pretty well. I mean, 5-3 is quite respectable. Um, I uh really like so Gardevoir versus Bayonet is not that bad, but you do need like some kind of precaution for Bayonet, be that like Jolteon Star or Tyranitar EX or Mime EX or Sceptile EX or Blastoise Delta or something. You need something for this matchup. And my something was prized. I prized my Sceptile EX or my Trico or something. And it was like deep in the prizes too. I think it was my last two prizes, in fact, was like a Sceptile EX. And so he took a while to get set up, and I was able to get six supporters in the discard relatively quickly. Um, and so then it came down to Mew copying Shadow Chant. Mew, like, won me over half of the games I played, or maybe half of the games I played. That card is insane in Gardevoir. I do not think cutting it for Jolteon is the play. I think it's just so good in basically every matchup Gardevoir struggles with, like the Stantler decks, Bayonet, even like Ratlock if you're not playing Mew could be weird. um, yeah. So basically, against Cole, I just got a good setup, and he had not the best setup, and I was able to take my prizes with Mew, and that's really what you want to do against Bayonetta. You want to like take some prizes with Mew, take a prize with like maybe Gardevoir Delta. You have to give up 3 energy, and take another prize with Mew. And once you knock out 3 Bayonetta, the game is over. Ideally, you want Sceptile because Sceptile can just like kill the Bayonets, and then if they want to kill it, they can't. Uh, and then it jams them up. But also like having Sceptile in play means that you can like use Pidgeot to attack because they can't. What's it called? They cannot Shady move while Sceptile's up. So it's pretty nice if you can get it up. But of course, I prize it. And then against Tfue, TFW, he was on Chicken Box, which is his own creation. Um, Very cool deck. It basically, like, the idea of this is pretty similar to LBS. You play a 2/04 Pidgeot, the 2/2 of the energy guy, in this case, the Blaziken. And then just attackers that are good with it. So Regirock, because it's enabled by the Holland Mons. Latios, because it has fire in its attack. Ray EX, just a good card. Psychic Ditto for the Gardevoir matchup, basically. Tropius for the Gardevoir matchup. Lugia to nuke stuff. It's really cool, and I think this is pretty solidly better than LBS. So if you want to play a deck that's like LBS and also get nostalgia baited into playing Blaziken, you could play this. Um, and this game sucked, dude. This game was so sad. DFW made a crazy run to get here, and he has not topped a big RSTPK event yet. And he is an extremely strong player. I've played against him a lot. Um, and I have not played against him in tournament yet. This is my first time. And unfortunately, our game had a potentially deciding glitch that occurred with Jirachi, where I imprisoned, no, I think the Jirachi was burned, and he swooped the Jirachi out for a Pidgey, brought something up, retriever for Jirachi, retreated to Jirachi, and could not use Wishing Star, which was disastrous. And Like, I don't know. I guess you could say, like, well, what if he just had five dead cards in the top of his deck? But of course, we'll never get to know that. He might have gotten Pidgeot up that turn. So it's really unfortunate that the game ended that way. I mean, the game didn't end that way, but like chicken box versus guard, like you need some things to go right for the chicken box player, and he just wasn't really having anything go right. And then on top of that, he had the glitch thing, and so from there, I mean, it's kind of trivial. Gardevoir can just imprison everything and move the energy around, and you have PAL in case things get dicey. So unfortunate that the game ended, or that the Swiss ended this way for me. Um, I would have liked to have had a better match. Um, yeah, and like I did sack like Cole kind of. Like the last two games I played were kind of sacks, so it would have been nice to have something more representative of like winning by quality play versus quality drawing. But we play TCGs, and that's what happens sometimes. Um, so then I got into top eight. First round was against Chaos of Slayer on his trusty Swampert Steelix deck. This deck is super cool. I don't really know. I haven't played it. I've sort of just seen it around, but he's gotten top cut with it twice, which is incredible. And it's clearly maybe like not as good as Metagross Swampert, but like it's probably pretty close. Steelix is really good. Mm. Excuse me. Um, Steelix is really good. I mean, it does 100 damage, and it's a pretty strong attacker. And you just don't have to set up a stage two, and it's like already as bulky as Metagross. So yeah, definitely a sick deck for sure. I'm glad to see he's getting results with it. Fire me, of course. Jirachi EX is a wild one, probably for this matchup. Unfortunately, I bricked, and I was excited to play against Chaos because I was thinking, well, this should be an easy matchup. You know, Gardevoir just destroys these Swampert EX decks. You imprison the Swampert, you can even get Sceptile up. You imprison all their draw cards, like if they have Pidgeot or Mad Cargo or Delcatty or whatever. You just imprison all that, set up Sceptile, fire attack the metal guy, and you win. But that did not happen because I drew like horrible, and I got donked pretty quickly. So then I was like, well, here I go again. And then I've had to play Christmas Mbio, who's on, I believe, my exact list, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I did that to him. He opened horribly, and I opened nice. And there's nothing he could do. There's nothing I did special. I just won because I opened well, and he did not. Then I had to play Ayage, and this was a pretty wild one. Um, Basically, what happened is that he was able to bomb twice and power up my Regirock to KO it. And I got into this like crazy end game where like I had to sleep the Tyranitar with Ralts. I also had to candy into Sceptile to prevent him from taking too many prize cards from Spinning Tail and knocking out Trico on the bench. And that just became a crazy situation. And at the end, it did come down to like I killed his Tyranitar, and if he had a scramble energy in his like three card hand, then he would have just won because he could just KO my Regirock back because he had two prizes left and I had one. Um, but he didn't, and this was probably like the most insane game I played just because it was very. Well, I don't know. The Canton one was pretty insane, but this one was very, very neck and neck, and I somehow pull the win out. I don't think this matchup is bad. I listened back to some of the commentary from this event, and the commentary was great. Like I think having just like a whole host of people who are educated and passionate about the format was really cool. But I don't think this is a bad matchup at all. I think it's pretty close to 50-50 if you play it properly. I guess I am on like Regirock and Sceptile, but I don't know. Those are not as relevant as you might think, but it's kind of different. Save that for the Gardevoir video someday. Um, I played Audio Sora, another Japanese player on Bomb Tower. I believe that's their first appearance in a RSPK Top Cut. So great, great result from Audio Sora. Um, Dunsparce. I have never seen that in Bomb Tower before. I feel like you kind of would rather just play another Mentor if you want to do that. But what do I know? Double rare candy, also pretty unprecedented. Only the one says. Fallen Lass. A lot of weird things about this list. Um, Not bad necessarily, just unique. Um, Unfortunately, my game against Audio Sora was another sack. He opened bad. He had no supporters, opened Voltorb, and then I killed him in 2 turns. My turn one, I got up Sceptile EX and Pidgeot, which is basically impossible to recover from. So then I had to play against Little Slinky in losers finals on LBS. I think that this is towards LBS or like a card or two away from towards LBS. I don't remember if Tord. I don't think he is on Pseudo Wudo. I feel like he was not on some of these copy guys that have become trendier. Ever since I saw this dude doing well in Swiss, I was like, I need to play this guy. Like, I gotta end this LBS bullshit, man. Like, I gotta nip this in the bud. We cannot have these boomers running around playing. And I mean, okay, he did great. He did phenomenal. But okay, look at his matchups. Like Rags, pretty fair. Swampert Metagross, great matchup for LBS. I don't actually know how Shiro Special does against it. Like the bomb decks, generally pretty good for LBS, and then another like Swampert's like metal type. Like he hit good matchups all day, like literally all day, and then he hit Gardevoir and uh, just yeah. Now to be fair, this match was fairly close. It came down to like one of the big things was, and this is kind of the challenging part of playing Gardevoir in this matchup specifically is like, do you imprison the Pidgeot or do you imprison the Blastoise? If you imprison the Blastoise, then their deck kind of shuts down, but they can like hypothetically quick search and get another Blastoise up. Um, Alternatively, if you like imprison the Pidgeot and then like admin or something, then they could really get shut out of the game, but they're probably going to KO your active that turn, your active Gardevoir EX presumably, and so then that could get kind of dicey because now they still have access to Energy Rain, and you will lose in the 1v1, assuming you don't shut that down, and they can keep killing you every turn. So what I ended up doing was I imprisoned Pidgeot, and the next turn got up Sceptile EX. So the reason, and this also was nice because it insulates you from Tropius, which you didn't play, which you should absolutely play if you're coping on LBS in 2025. But he like it insulates you from Tropius because they can Tropius to get rid of imprisons on Blastoise, but they can't Tropius to get rid of extra liquid. And so I got that up, and then Sceptile went crazy. It took like 4 or 5 prizes or something because um, LBS has no way to deal with it at all. He did have Fire Mew, but I think I discarded it with Giant Stump. I had a pretty nice early game Giant Stump that was actually disruptive to him. Um, And then also like if he ever puts an energy on you, you can just power it up and KO it. So then in finals, High Flyer, the game was a wash. There was nothing I could do. He opened really well, and I had no shot. High Flyer with a crazy 11-1, just taking dub after dub all day. Did not hit any like insanely bad match. Oh no, he hit Bomb Champ in one, so that's pretty wild. I think Blandeezy was saying High Flyer won with like a solid rage or something. Um, Really interesting. So if you've played TCG1 actively for the past while, you've probably played against High Flyer before. I don't think he's been as active lately, but like back in the day, we would get games quite a bit. And he would pretty much always play this list or some variation of this list. It's Bomb Tar, it's got Tex in it, it's got Pidgeot, um, Curse Stone. He plays heavy Curse Stone to KO Jirachi. It's just a nice card to have in general. ATM Rock synergizes pretty well with it. He plays the Solid Rage as a quick search target, as well as like Cessation Crystal. And also Quad Rare Candy. This gives you obviously access to Pidgeot, but also helps like some kind of stranger plays, more esoteric plays, like getting a Trode up immediately and bombing it against like Ratlock, for example. Um, really cool stuff. Really, really nice stuff from High Flyer. And yeah, it's awesome that he was able to take it all the way home with this very unique list that he pretty much has like built himself from the ground up, taking Bomb Tar into just this completely different direction that everyone else is going. It's been really cool that he's able to clutch a win with it. It's really nice. It'll be interesting to see if people take any of these ideas and go with also 3-2-4 Tyranitar. Very interesting. And 203 Pidgeot. Like, what? What? But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see if people like take this list and play it, or if they will just stick to like the kind of typical, um, like I don't know, the Palm Tars. It doesn't look like this. Uh, Energy lineup is wild too. Doesn't play the Holland package because I guess the idea is if you play against a fighting type, you just attack with the other Dark Tyranitar. So that seems pretty reasonable. Only three darkness is like what? But I guess he plays a solid rage. So um, yeah. So I'm gonna go through. I kind of talked about some of these lists. I talked about High Flyer. My list. I mean, you probably know this pretty well by now. I played Gardevoir because I was tired of losing to decks where I did not feel like I had a choice in the victory or the loss, and this was tired of getting to if I just get to top cut and then I play against like Gardevoir or something, there's just nothing I can do. Um, and I felt like with this guard list, I at least had a chance into most things. Uh, and in some matchups were very very strong. This like LBS. Well, I mean, Rat is good against LBS, but like I just felt like I am a strong enough player that I can outplay like the bomb matchups and the Stantler matchups with this list. And I had special stuff for him. I mean, the Septalia X is pretty novel in Gardevoir. I think I was the first one to really test this out a lot. Maybe Mysterious Player beat me to the punch, but um, yeah, I think this list is pretty much perfect. I wouldn't change a whole lot about it. The only thing I kind of want to fit is the Stevens advice, but it's not fully necessary. Um, and Yeah, it just feels really nice. Sceptile EX is fantastic. It helps a lot in the mirror, helps a lot against Bayonet. It doesn't help as much as you might think against bomb decks, just because it's kind of hard to get it up consistently when it's only a 101, and you don't like you could just prize one of the things, and then it becomes quite hard. But it comes up there as well, of course. And Sceptile is just really good. Like so many things also like are psychic type. Like people were running Ditto to hit Gardevoir for weakness and then save the energy, but like Ditto, like Sceptile can just get through that. Sceptile just is so nice in this deck. Uh, it does shut off your imprison, but like you can just imprison smartly. Also, you can always giant stump to discard the Sceptile EX. So I do want to make either a video or a blog post about Gardevoir more. I made a post about the building philosophy I had when it comes to this list and also building in this format. But I will. I would like to make a more comprehensive guide to playing Gardevoir, and how you overcome its bad matchups, which I don't think it really has anything bad. Um, but yeah, so that'll be for the future. Um, Talked about Slinky's list a little bit. Uh, Metaru. Metaru, this is their second top on Bomb Mints. So this deck apparently is just good. Like, I guess this is just a good deck now. I don't really like know the best way to play this, but I mean, this seems pretty convincing. Only two pals. Not messing with any of the Salamence EX guys. The idea behind this deck is that, from what I can gather, Fire Dance and Delta Blast give you a bomb attacker that is really good into like a lot of common Stantler type decks where Fire Dance recurs your energy, Delta Blast one shots everything except for Rayquaza EX. Also your fire type, so like against uh, Sceptile, you can kill it pretty easily. Um, and then you're also like kind of going the tank route because you do take like you do get special metal, so that's pretty nice. But it's interesting, like that he's on only two pals and like Desert Ruin. Oh, Desert Ruins is nice for one-shotting Rayquaza, but yeah, it's this deck is apparently just good. Like I would put this deck at very viable. I've only played the one game against it with Ratlock, but I was pretty convinced after that that this was a force to be reckoned with. As I mean, and it's credit to Metaru, that's it's crazy that he's been able to do this with a deck that I think most, at least Westerners, are completely unaware of. Um, then Christmas is MIO is on the same list as me, so these St. Louis players added again. Um, I did kind of go through. I didn't go through Mysterious Players list too much. He's on Firo. I don't like it. He's on Sceptile EX. I think it's good. No fighting guy seems a little insane. I guess he's just kind of banking on Sceptile EX being the Bomb Tar answer. I think 3 Guard EX is also just. Because you don't even need to draw into it. You're playing Firo, and he's also into your Researcher. I don't understand some of this. I think POW is also really nice. And you really need Giant Stump if you have Sceptile, I think, because you need to get rid of the Sceptile. Um, I think the 2 Warp Point 4 Warp Energy is also like a bit excessive. Like, I don't know many situations that you would find yourself in where you need all of that. Um, but I digress. I guess without Pidgeot, it can be a little weird because you can't like warp. Like if something's confused and you want to attack with that thing, you can't just warp into Pidgeot and retreat. You have to do something else. Okay, but I do want to spend some more time talking about like some unusual, more unusual things I saw. I've gone through most of these. If I see something notable, I'll kind of point it out. Um, Ashley Richards 5-3 on Flygon EX is like one of the best results Flygon EX has seen since Delzown went 4-2 with his Flygon EX. Um, like this is the first time I've seen just like the kind of classic Flygon box do well at an event in quite a while. Um, Reveneer playing Ryegs, Lapras. I know that the ER2 has been coming up more and more in Japanese players' lists for Ryegs, and I can kind of see it. This deck, yeah, I feel like it kind of does need to go for these like high roll cards to just win sometimes. Um, so it is what it is. Yeah, I see the vision here. Actually, I probably should go through this by metagame, right? Seems better. Oops. Whoops. Um. So I don't think, if I remember right, like the rest of the bomb. Oh, May played but went 1-2. I think he went very close, if not the exact same as his Stambler winning bomb tar list. Beyond that, we had a couple of Chinese players as well. Um, I think it's the first time we've had Chinese players at these online events, but I could be mistaken. Yeah, honestly, like High Flyer's bomb tar is the craziest bomb tar. High Flyer MA, if you want insane bomb tar lists that are not the usual ones, it's worth trying out. It looks like Yamada Plus is playing very similar to May's bomb tar. Um, yeah, I'll go through the others as well. Jalop, I think he's on Magma Groudon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I know Autumn Lamb uh, also was brewing this. You use Magma Groudon and Stantler and some other really cool, awesome epic guys like Minun and Rocket Swab, even Umbreon Star. I think this card is not really worth it in this deck, but who knows? I think this deck is probably just a worse version of existing Stantler decks, but it is pretty funny also. And Magma Groudon does hit pretty hard. So, excuse me. Um, Kama Bokonita is playing the Marowak Crobat. I do not know if I have won a game against this deck. I think I've maybe won one. This thing is so much better than it looks. It's actually insane. I don't know if this person is like the Japanese person who is the originator of it. I've seen this floating around for a while. Basic strategy is like Marowak is good and it places damage on a bunch of things with Energy Bone. And then Crobat can target attack them and will do a lot of damage because you've already done damage to them with energy bone. In addition to that, you also have like the other Marowak to snipe as well, and then it does some pretty big damage. Delta Marowak also like deals with some metal types that resist grass that Crobat would not do much damage against. You get to play like Delta Rainbow in the deck. Radar Jam, of course, with like Cursed Stone is always good. Only two Cursed Stone and a Hideout. I don't really even know if the Hideout is worth it. I feel like it's hard to say. Hard to say. Also, I think this might be a mistake. Like this, why does he have three Golbat? I don't know. I think this is probably a mistake. I don't know if it's a like if he imported the wrong thing on TCG Limitless. I'm not gonna snitch. Like I'm sure this was a reasonable mistake that he made. I don't care, but I don't understand this. Unless this is just some real like Galaxy Brain 232 thing, which I do not understand at all. But who knows? Very cool deck. And what did it win and lose against? Um, wow, he had four Bomb Tar players. And he beat half of them. Did beat half of them. Yeah, very cool. I wonder if we're gonna see more people on this, or if Westerners are just gonna kind of throw up their hands and be like, "I don't know how this is good," because I can understand that perspective. Then we have Chaz on. I don't understand. I saw this deck being played. I have no earthly idea why he's on Seeking from Deoxys. Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. He did go 4-4 though. He did go even, and he beat TFW and Little Slinky. What? Oh wait, no, sorry, he lost TFW and Little Slinky. Okay, these are not super. The Bland Easy win's pretty big. And beating Fossil Box is something, but I don't understand. Someone telling me about the Seeking. And then Ikyomi is on like a rat sort of deck. I mean, it's playing rat with the lock stuff. Also on Crawdon EX, which is one of the most based cards in the format. Vaporeon Star. I don't even remember which these unknowns are. He's playing Unknown E because Unknown E plus Crawdon can occasionally loop your opponent in really funny ways. Unknown B um, can do a million damage, which is funny. And then C is the supporter one, right? Yeah. Um, I have played him with Gardevoir a bunch in this matchup, and I think I've won every game, but that's obviously unfair because Gardevoir would obviously stomp this deck. But um, it's excuse me. It's good to see that he's taken names with it because it is very novel. Um, and I have no idea what is going on. I love Crawling X. I love Radicate. I love the unknown guys. He's also on Gligar, I think. Yeah, Gligar. Now, I don't really know what the target for this card is. Like, are you trying to use Sting Turn? I don't know. But I think it's great. We're seeing Gligar, we're seeing Murkrow, we're seeing three Battle Frontier. Like, I love it. You can also cut energy for the record, Yukomi, especially because you only on one Stantler. You don't really need like to open with energy. And Rat, especially 4-3 Rat, will enable you to not run out of energy. So, just a suggestion. I think you can definitely go down to like 12 or lower, but who knows? Who knows? Bicky Gaming. What was Bicky playing? Bicky was playing Gardevoir, but I guess for some reason Limitless doesn't like it. ATM Rocket Swag. I still don't really like Executor in this deck or Furo, but um, people can do what they want. Mustar, great. Stantler and Jirachi are devious cards to play in Gardevoir. Very, very devious. I think the one Guard EX is like. I get it. I kind of get it. This is less of a Gardevoir EX as a deck and more like guard tech, where you just throw a bunch of things at your opponent. I use Gardevoir Delta to move the energy around and support them. So yeah, very cool. Not the best result from Bicky, but I would like to see him continue to play, and hopefully we see him at some more online events. And then Delzone on the Delzone engine, Blastoise. Well, okay, Blastoise is not the engine, the Apom engine. So if you don't know what this does, it aims to use Apom along with so like it's using Apom and like the item cards in order to draw into as many pieces that you can get for a turn one Hyper Whirlpool with Blastoise. Now there's more synergy here than you might think because like Apom uh can like so if you have like a Pokedex, for example, then you can play Pokedex while you have an Apom in hand and then get whatever card you want in your top five. It becomes like a wishing star, basically. And then if you have like a great ball that plus a Pokedex, and yeah, you have like functionally a wishing star, and you get to like make sure the order of your next cards is good as well. Um, and this deck is like I hear that there's promise. I kind of wonder if we can extract any other like resources from it. Delzan has kind of wondered if there's just anything else that we can do to make this deck even faster and more consistent. But it's hard to say. Uh, I think it's definitely cool, and I hope that he continues to mess around in the format. I think it's really nice to see people who are new to the format and just try very novel ideas, even though sometimes they work out and sometimes they don't. Um, let's see. I think the other Gardevoirs. Is this the Scizor? Yeah. Daikon, very similar list to mine, but he is on like Scizor EX. I've heard people mention this before. I think it's interesting. Jasmine, I think, might have been on Scizor as well. Yes. Yep. Um, I don't know what matchup Scizor solves for you. Probably helps with Bane it a little bit. Well, you don't one shot it. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably something. Like it's just nice to have an attacker in Gardevoir. It seems like a stupid statement because, like, well, of course it's nice to have an attacker, but uh, hard to explain. Aster, I think, was on my double rainbow Gardevoir list. Yeah, not the best results, but keep at it. It's a good list. You'll get the hang of it. Also, this is a pretty nutty open, like start to the tournament, cheer on into the guy who topped with bomb tar. But these are the games we play. Um, okay. Um, Rayler. So the main thing I wanted to mention about this was okay. First of all, Rayleigh had an awful tournament. Tord is playing Umbreon Star. Umbreon Star. Why is he doing this? I don't like this. I think that there's so many better things that you can be doing than trying to loop this card. Like, I don't even think it's good in circle lock for the most part. Like, you really only want it in circle control. And even then, it's like you can probably cut it if you want. I just think this card is. It's like, what? You're going to throw Umbreon down and then, what? Sniff out Brinies to pick it up? Like, yeah. Apparently, this did win him games, which is bad because it's positive reinforcement to play the card, but who knows? Um, yeah, Toward missing out on Top Gut for the first time since I think Stambler won. So, pretty wild stuff. I'm sure this will not be a super huge trend. I mean, missing out on Top Cut is like normal. Everybody misses out on Top Cut sometimes. But who knows? I think that somebody else was on this Umbreon as well. Maybe somebody else was. It wasn't Kikirda. Wasn't Maxi Boy. Tord we already talked about. Was it Kylan Zero? Who was it? Was it Yosha? Is it Pedro? Okay, it was Pedro. Yeah, yeah. The Umbreon star. Um, I mean, it's cool that to see innovation. I just don't think this one is good, and also not the best tournament for regular. It's also kind of rare to see this many people playing regular, so quite a bit of data in it. But I mean, like, if a couple of games went differently, then it would be even. And so, who knows? Um, and also, like, there's just not much to talk about with most of the regular lists because they're not innovative. They're just you're gonna be playing one of the Tord lists or one of the Jason lists. And I think Bana is becoming a deck where people are just playing the Canton list. Like, I don't know if this is Canton's exact list. I mean, I'm sure it's not, but um, like, there's really a consensus being formed that like, if you want to play Bayonet, you should play something resembling that. The double Mew package, Solrock, the Lunatone, Jinx, these like supporters or these item cards rather, reversals. Yeah, it's, consensus is really forming. Um, yeah, like everybody is on this. It's really good to be fair. Like, and it's cool that Kenton and Rogar have kind of reestablished this deck as a metaforce, and it's a good one too. Um, Gambler, the decline kind of continues. Kenton's list is super cool. I think Jason has removed Rocket's Wobbuffet from this deck because he was tired of starting with it. Nothing super wild about this otherwise. Um, Gambler, like, whoa. I think I've played against this before. The Star. Okay, this is a little too fancy in my opinion. I think you should just be playing Entei Star if you want to do that. But I like seeing insane things like this. Also, like, hey, you're playing Elms. Okay, you play one up Elms. It's a castaway target. It's a Scott target. You can get the Arcanine that way, maybe somehow. Um, neat, very neat. And Logan, this looks pretty much like Jason's list. So yeah, not with Candler. There's a lot of times not a huge amount to innovate. We also see a lot more players like just using the same lists, um, which we don't see as much in Japanese events. Um, Chiro Special, not getting top cuts, but didn't have bad results either. Chiro himself on Tropius now as well. I don't know if he was the last time I looked at this, but it's cool. I think that Tropius is becoming more and more essential. We had 7 Gardevoir players, so like 10% of the field on a card that Tropius is good against. And it's also good against Stantler, and also incidentally good against just like random stuff. Like if you're active, just like gets paralyzed by like a Growlithe body slam or whatever. It comes up enough, I imagine. Um, let's see what else. Dragged Road kind of disappeared this event. Um, I think that bro, what? What? I have no idea what this could even possibly be used for. Is this for the mirror? I can't imagine it is. Like, you could just KO Dragonite with Sneasel. This is one of the most baffling things I've ever seen in my life. Incredible things are happening in China. I genuinely have no idea what this is. Like, it's not the worst attacker, but like, I don't know why you would put it in a deck. Like, all of these attacks are pretty good. Wild. But no, very this is also a pretty crazy list. No, okay, no. Blissey EX plus Charizard Star is kind of funny. You just get all the energy back with Blissey. Heal it up as well. But yeah, Dragtrode doing absolutely nothing this tournament. Um, Swampert Metagross, would I say it's underperforming? I think this deck is definitely really cool, but it has been not doing very hot lately. This is pretty close to Mysterious Players list. Uh, and this one is closer to Q's list. So it's cool to see that like the two styles of this list are both being played. Um, Maybe we just need Mysterious Player or Q to pilot them again and show people how it's done. What is this? I did not know this person was playing. This is just like the classic Salamence EX, Altara EX. Pray that they don't have Sceptile. Too bad. Too bad this deck is not very good. Fossil Box. Oh, Zach's list, aka Cult Classic. Uh, we did discuss quite a bit. It's pretty cool actually. Your basic is Tentacool, which is a free retreater, and you can also like buy turns with Wrap if you absolutely need to. It also means you get to run Tentacruel, which is a funny card because you can confuse things or discard energy or toxic them, and it also has free retreat. So it's pretty neat, I suppose. I believe. And he is running the Holland Fossil Master Ball PokeNav engine in order to facilitate getting those early fossils. Um, Also bigger on like just regular energies instead of high DRE, couple scramble counts. I think he said that this was testing better for him. Box is an interesting deck. I think that we are still sort of trying to figure out the best way to play it, and I think we still are scratching the surface. And I want to see more people play this deck because it's pretty cool. Also has like a pretty decent matchup against like some of the top decks. Like it's really not that bad against like any of Gardevoir or Ryegs or Camler or Rayler. Like you have game against a lot of things. So yeah, isn't that neat? Um, let's see who else we've got that I want to highlight. I am pretty tired if y'all can't guess. Well, there was a director at Steensel, DJ Nelly. Um, yeah, the director players, there were not very many of them, and they all kind of underperformed, unfortunately. This deck will be back though. I don't think there's anything that like is inherent to this deck that makes it worse, except that like Gardevoir is more popular. But I don't even think these guys are really hitting Gardevoir. Um, Dragonite EX Delta, I feel like I have not seen this deck in a while. And JP was on some crazy stuff. He's on Sceptile from Emerald. I don't think this card is good in this deck or basically any other deck. You can just play Warp Energies, which you're already on 4 of, or Warp Points, which you're on 2 of. Strength Charm is pretty fun. And if you're gonna play Sceptile, like try to fit in a Sceptile EX or an Energy Trans Sceptile because those are both really nice to have, and you can get to them with Trico. So I would recommend putting one of those in there if you really want to run the special conditions Sceptile. Um, Meta Knight, always one person on this. LBS, Wild. Little River, of course. Of course. Of course. Why wouldn't he be on it? Why would he not be on Destiny? Um, I think him removing the Latias Pokepark is probably the right call. Scrambled eggs is pretty dead these days. When Jason has given it up, uh, it's kind of a bad sign, as they say in the industry. Um, Only one Nidoqueen. Yeah, it's interesting that the meta has gotten to this point. Bombtar and Gardevoir and Rayler. Like, these are probably the top 3 decks, in my opinion. Bombtar, Gardevoir, Rayler. Raticate is, or Ratlock is not too far behind, I think. But it's really hard to pick up and play. Well, okay, I don't think it's that hard to pick up and play, but like, it's maybe hard to pick up and play if you are used to playing Pokemon a certain way. Um, and also a lot of people just don't enjoy playing it. I imagine you have to be kind of insane to want to play that deck in a format where you can play like any of these decks and be fine. Um, but yeah, uh, that's about all that I've got. I think we've covered some of the cool decks from the tournament. I've talked about my run, and we've talked about the top players decks. So coming up on the horizon, I will be at the Holland Cup next month in London at EUIC. Oh, important note, if you are going to that, you have to get a visa, like the UK ETA visa. If you're going to EUIC, you have to get that. I didn't know that. My dad had to tell me. It would have been a disaster. So if you're going to the UK for EUIC, just be aware of that. Just be aware. Um, okay. I guess that's all I've got. So next video will be the tier list, most likely. Unless well, maybe not the next video, but future videos, the tier list, perhaps more gameplay videos soon. And I do want to. The Gardevoir thing will probably be on the blog. I don't think I want to do a video about it. Um, yeah, thank you for sticking around. I'm very tired. I know people kind of like when I am tired and do these, or maybe I'm just kind of reading into that. But okay, I'll get out of here. Thank you for watching, I guess.